What's going on, guys? Welcome to Courtside Podcast, episode 23. Today I'm joined by Leroy. What's up, Leroy?
What's going on, man?
What's going on? Um, so I had a lot to talk about last week, but we didn't make a podcast last week. So now I'm a little bit, I guess, flustered. Luckily, Leroy is here, so he's going to, you know, help me out here. So, but as always, I appreciate you guys for supporting the podcast, and hopefully, you guys continue to listen. Or hopefully, we're not, keeping you guys. Hopefully, I'm not boring you guys. So I'm hoping you guys are enjoying the podcast. And with that being said, what do you got, Leroy?
We got Final Four. Blue blood. It's a blue blood matchup. So the Final Four, Duke, UNC, that rivalry meeting in the postseason for the first time in the history of that rivalry. So that's to me that's actually really surprising because with so many Duke and Carolina battles, you would have thought maybe at some point in the postseason they met in the NCAA tournament they met, but first
Yeah.
time for that to happen. So and how fitting for it to be in Coach K's last year.
What was that?
I was saying it's the first time that they met in the finals and in the NCAA tournament. And
The bat,
how fitting for that with Coach Goody being Coach K last year.
the battle of the old men, right? Roy Williams versus Coach K
Well,
in
Roy's
the.
still down
the
this year. They have a new coach this year, UNC.
okay, so he's retired, Roy Williams.
Yeah, Roy
Yeah.
retired. Roy retired last year. I guess they kind of made Coach K
Okay.
think about retiring too. It's like, well, Roy's stepping down. Might as well make that move myself.
Yeah. Well, um, I think so. You said that they never competed in the Final Four, right? The Duke versus UNC. That's the
Well,
first
in
time.
the at any point in the NCAA tournament. So and he said so this is and new head coach for UNC Herbert Davis is for first year on the job and now you and making it to the Final Four. So
Well, I tell you what, I'm hoping that Duke goes all the way. So I think Coach K needs to end it with a bang. What do you think?
I think it's possible. I think Duke their team is kind of they're clicking at the right time. And then you have them, and on the other side you have KU and which is Kansas and Villanova.
Yeah.
Both of those squads you have experienced guys who were on championship teams.
Hmm.
So I think that'll be a unique aspect of UNC get if Duke gets past North Carolina and plays a Villanova and Kansas. So especially Villanova because Villanova is known for having those guys on that team that had been through it at least once before. So
Yeah, no, well, Villanova, they won the championship for NCAA. I believe it was a few years back with when they had what's his face, that one white dude, DiVincenzo.
yeah, the one
Yeah,
the one white dude.
yeah, and they also had which I don't know where he's at in the upper league now, but yeah, they've always had pretty good dudes on that team. Um,
Yeah.
you know, so I think the favorite for me would be Villanova. I think they have the best team, but
hmm
yeah, I wouldn't underestimate Kansas. I think they could probably square up pretty nicely with them.
Yeah, Bill Self usually always has a pretty good team. Um, and if like I said, Kansas in the Final Four, if they will, so when it'll be their first title since 2008. So that has been a while since they won one.
Since who was that on the team in '08? Was it
That was
Thomas Robinson?
that was Mario Chalmers. That was Mario Chalmers in that
Oh,
big shot against Memphis.
yeah, yeah. So yeah, that's a while back.
Yeah, that's a very long time, man.
I thought Kansas won like not too long ago, but yeah, it's pretty nuts that
Nah,
it's
I was
been that
like
long.
it's Villanova you were thinking of. That's one not too long ago. They won in 2018. So
Yeah. When was the last time Duke won the NCAA? March.
2015.
That was 2015. Who did they have at the time? Was it what Jalil
2015.
Okafor? No, it might have been.
Who was on that 2015 team? That's a good question.
I think Okafor was on the 2014 team, but I don't know who was on the 2015 Duke team. Are you looking it up?
I definitely am.
Probably just a bunch of random dudes that I don't know do construction now or something.
Okay, so let's see, 2014-15 team. That was the team with Quinn Cook, Tyra Jones. With Jones is actually a really good point guard, so I like
You
that.
said
That is that good.
Tyus
Yeah,
Jones. What team
yeah.
is he? What team is he playing for in the NBA right now?
Uh, I want to say he's with Memphis,
Yeah, I
if I'm
think you
not
might. I
mistaken.
think you might be right on that. I think I saw him play like a month ago, but I forget what team. And then I think Quinn Cook, he's saying that he wants to be back in the league, but no one's giving him the opportunity yet.
hmm Yeah,
But
he's with Memphis, and he plays really well. He definitely plays really well. And those games when Ja isn't going, so he's
yeah.
probably the best backup point guard in the league.
So who? Those were probably the two prime players on that Duke team that won in 2015.
Yeah,
Huh. And then so yeah, I mean that would be my favorite to win it all. I think not only because I like Duke, but just because it's Coach K's last
okay.
year, and
Jalil was on that team though. They showing Jalil was on that team. Quinn, it was him,
yeah.
Jalil, Grayson Allen.
What happened to Okafor, man? I haven't heard about him in a while. Jalil Okafor. I thought he was
Um,
going to be a pretty good player in the NBA, but he never panned out.
well, I mean, he just his. I guess it was just his style of play. I mean, I don't know. He was a little more of a traditional big, but he didn't move his feet too well. As far as from what I
Yeah,
know.
he's a little slow footed for sure,
Hmm
and he doesn't really provide anything other than a low post presence. Um, but I thought he would could be. I thought he was going to be like a Tim Duncan kind of Arsenal type of player.
Okay.
I know his rookie season was pretty good, but then he kind of just slipped a little bit after that.
Yeah, you just yeah,
So
he
who?
kind of slipped and slid out. So I don't know.
So second, the final four in March Madness. Who would you take to win it?
That's a tough one, but I tried not to just go on a Duke wagon because of Coach K's last year, but it's hard not to because they're the team you want to watch because you never know if it's Coach K's last game, so it's hard not to
Yeah.
root for them.
Mm-hmm.
Now on the
So,
women's side, it's a lot easier. I'm
yeah.
going South Carolina.
Oh, I really don't give a damn about the women's side. I don't watch WNBA. I don't watch the. Yeah, I know Connecticut though. I think just on that subject, I think the Connecticut women's team is in the finals, the final championship game, right?
They're in the final four. Both of them, men's and women's, are in the final four.
You said what? Both of the Connecticut teams are in the final four.
Nah, both. I was saying, well, the women. I was saying both men's and women's. The tourneys that is at the final four stage. Connecticut, they're playing Stanford, so there was. I mean, it's gonna be a good final four with on the women's side with South Carolina and Louisville, Stanford playing UConn. I mean,
Okay.
as far as UConn, like Paige, ever since Paige Beckers came back, she's just been different. Like that's what they paid Becca. She built different. That that jumper is sweet. Or that's one.
And you
Cause
said on the
I
men's side that Duke was your favorite.
yeah.
Okay,
Duke.
so you agree with me.
Yeah, I agree with you on the Duke man. Uh,
Is that with bias toward Coach K, or is that just you think they're the best team in
I think
the left?
I think they're I think they're one. I think they're one. I think they're the most. I feel like they're the most talented team,
Yeah,
and so I feel like they can get it done with their talent. It just my thing is if they match up with Villanova, I feel like Villanova is a bad matchup for them because of the experience that squad has. So I feel
yeah,
like that. So I feel like if anything, I want to see them play Kansas if they're gonna win it, and if they play Villanova, it's kind of gonna be a tough one.
yeah. I agree. I think that I don't even know. So how does the so if Duke beats who are they playing?
They're matched up with North Carolina.
North. Okay, so if Duke wins that, then they could play Kansas
Or
or you
Villanova.
or Villanova. Okay. Yeah, so I mean, it should be interesting to watch. I mean, I was low key rooting for St. Peter's team when they had
Yeah,
that one dude. I checked and
yeah.
then I looked it up to see if that dude was in the mock drafts or anything, because but I guess I don't know if he's going to stay for a few more years at St. Peter's or if he's just not a prospect. But I mean, he pretty much carried that team to the Sweet 16. What's his name? I forget. It's that one white dude
Nah, I forgot. I forgot myself to be honest.
with a looks like Justin Bieber or something.
He look like
but uh but yeah, I mean, I don't know. I thought that team was interesting to watch.
yeah. It was, yeah, they definitely were because like they were a tough group. They didn't back down for nobody.
Yeah.
Nobody expected them to
I mean,
be there.
they
You
literally
know,
play in a gym that looks like I don't know my high
a
school
high
gym or
school.
something. So
Yeah.
they're just really like unknown as a
Well,
franchise.
well, yeah. I mean, as like schools, that's what most of the schools who get in the tournament. That's pretty much if you're either 11 seed or lower. A lot of them are unknown. A lot of them you won't find out until you either Google their name
Yeah.
or if you like myself and I attended school where when I attended college, my schools played in the Southland Conference. You wouldn't know any school in the Southland Conference until they actually
hmm
made the NCAA tournament. So yeah,
But I
so
think that's
they
what
play in conferences.
probably
That's, mhm.
gives them probably gives them more like of an edge when they kind of have that, you know, everyone's kind of treating them like the underdog and they got to go out there and kind of prove a statement to
Yeah,
everyone.
not just like the underdog. Ain't nobody really giving you a shot to be competitive.
Yeah, so I think that's the motive behind that is to try and, prove the doubters wrong or,
Yeah,
you know, yeah. But yeah, so how did your brackets go? Did you have a did your bracket get busted in the first round? Did you make
I
it to
didn't. I didn't do a bracket, but it would have because Kentucky lost to St. Peter. So yeah, it definitely would have got busted. It would have been it would have been busted. It'd have been so busted. I don't want to fight Kentucky.
Yeah, I think St. Peter's probably screwed up a lot of people's brackets,
Oh yeah, he
but
definitely
but
did.
I think I saw like a statistic that like 0.1% of brackets actually made it to like the final four or something. So there's probably very
Mm.
small people that actually got lucky somehow with that.
So the guy you was talking about on St. Peter that looked like Justin Bieber was he number 25 or something?
Yeah, I don't know what his name is. I forget.
I'm saying, do you know what the
Um,
jersey number was? It was just 25.
It might have been. He kind of has like that like hippie mustache. He kind of has like an 80s porn star look or something.
I don't know, because the only white dude on his team is number 25. That's what I was asking.
It probably is that guy because I didn't really hear about anybody else. Doug Eater, I think, is his name.
Yup, that's it. Doug Eater. Yeah.
Yeah, that dude.
He's a junior. He's a junior, so
Well, do you think
um,
he's going to make it to the NBA, or is he just kind of a one-hit wonder?
I mean, you never really know what guys coming out of schools that don't get a lot of coverage because you're gonna compare his level of possible NBA comp to what he did in the tournament.
Yeah,
So is that enough of a sample size to know how he'll project in the NBA?
I think it's like the most important tournament in college basketball. So I think that kind of gives you kind of something to determine, for scouts and stuff like that, uh, what players can project to be in the next level, which is the NBA.
Mhm.
So yeah, I do think that, you know, if he's going to, try to be in the draft this year, then teams should consider at least giving him a shot,
Well, yeah,
even
you
if
know,
it's the
see,
G League.
yeah. Now you saying that would be an option, and like you said, if he does go to draft, they'll see what he has in the combine and stuff. So,
Yeah.
and work in his workouts, he might end up being one of those guys that do like 15 workouts.
Yeah. I have to league just to get an
Yeah,
opportunity, but
yeah.
I think
Just
that's
see.
what isn't that what most kind of like rookies do before they get drafted? They have like a lot of pre-draft workouts with a lot of different teams.
Most of the guys who are not the top guys.
Yeah, usually it's
If
like
you're
around that
like that,
that mid
if
to
you,
late first round, and then the rest of the second
mm,
round.
yeah, if you're around that range, you go work out for half the league pretty much.
Yeah, so I don't think that's like anything out of the ordinary, but it's yeah, that's just what most players have to go through. I mean, even Kobe had a workout for the Celtics, so I mean that's saying
Yeah,
something.
he was
So
he was actually
oh,
hoping he didn't get drafted by them too. That's the crazy part about it. He was actually so much of a Laker fan growing up. He was hoping the Celtics didn't draft him.
the Clippers, I believe. So
Mm-hmm.
the two teams that the Laker fans despise, Kobe Bryant, actually worked out for those teams. Um, but talking about uh, Kobe, let's get to the Lakers a little bit. And
Oh
I
man,
know that they're. I think the Spurs lost the other night, so I think that the Lakers are. I think they're. Well,
are
I think they're
safe.
losing to the
They're
Jazz.
safer
So that
now. Oh, they've been losing to the Jazz. They already lost to the Jazz. That game went
so
final.
that
They lost.
so after that, so that means after that game, they are probably I think tied with the Spurs now for that 10th. But I think the Spurs have the tiebreaker. I believe.
Yeah, the Spurs do have a tiebreaker, which does put them ahead of the Lakers right now as far as the play-in situation is concerned.
Yeah, and how does that tiebreaker even like work?
I mean, it goes by
How do they
first.
determine that?
It's usually it's the season matchups who won more games in the season matchups, and then I think it's like conference record,
Hmm.
which when you look at it, I mean, I don't know the exact like head to head between them.
Yeah.
I'm assuming the Spurs won that because when I heard them talking, I think the Spurs did win most of the matchups against the Lakers. And even just looking at the standings right now, they have a much better conference record than the Lakers. So
The Lakers, even like on the road, they've only won like 10 games. So
they
that's
won
like,
11. They won 11 games on the road.
yeah, that's not going to help your
They've only
chances.
won 16 games in the Western Conference, and out of the division they're in, they've only won 3 games. So that means
Yeah.
against the Suns, against the Clippers, against the Kings, and against the Warriors, they've only won 3 games against those four opponents.
But the Spurs aren't, they're not in that division, right? So it's not
No,
divisional. It
they're
would
in the
be, it's
they're
what you
in
said, it's matchup based.
it's matchup based and conference record based.
So they just kind of intertwine those things and then
Yeah,
they just are able
yeah,
to
like how
determine
was
who
like
breaks the tiebreaker.
yeah, because for the most part, teams that are outside of your division, you're playing them maybe 3 times. So some teams you'll play 4 in the year, but most
Hmm.
times it's like 3. So that
Right.
tiebreaker is pretty defiant as far as who will win more games.
Right. Yeah. Well, I think I don't know what to even say about all that. I mean, as a Lakers fan, it's just been a tough season.
I'm gonna
But
say it like this: 80 and LeBron, they don't need to come back. Just let this shit go. Let
I
this shit
think I
ride.
think I think AD's coming back the next
Mm-mm.
game unless
He
he's
don't need to
doubtful.
come. Why? Why? Why come? Why? What is he showing up for?
Well, they're trying to go for the 10th seed.
Okay, you can go for the like. I'm just looking at hindsight. Let's predict the future a little bit. You go for the ace. You go for the play-in.
The top.
Let's
Okay.
even go even further and say they come out of the play-in somehow. Somehow they beat either the Clippers or the Timberwolves because it's probably who end up playing. So let's just say somehow they end up beating one of those teams to come out of the play-in.
Yeah.
You looking at playing the Suns or the Grizzlies in the first round?
Okay.
Do we really want to see a first round exit again from the
Well,
Lakers?
I don't think they should try to see the Suns, but if they're going against the Grizzlies, I mean, with LeBron and AD coming back, I would give them a chance to, at
They
least
got a chance.
have a chance in that series.
Yeah, they got a chance. Like it'll go 6 or 7, and I'm still picking Memphis. Because at the end of the day, who bought the check Ja?
Yeah, no one.
You could put LeBron on Ja for a little bit, but LeBron ain't the LeBron he used to be. LeBron like Father Time catching up to LeBron a little bit. And
Yeah,
Russ
it doesn't have the
and
same
we
impact on winning.
yeah, yeah. And we all know how Russ has played this season. So I'm not even about to go into Russ.
He's looked good the past, to end the
Past
season a
what?
little bit on
Like
and
what?
off.
The few minutes of a game?
Uh, he has games where he goes on spurts, these past like maybe 10, 15 games, but yeah, for the most part, he just hasn't looked like the same Westbrook
Mm-hmm.
overall. I mean, it's just been a disaster this season for the Lakers. I mean, coming off a championship not even 2 years ago, you know, they just they made too many. They improvised the roster too much, in my opinion, or they made too many revisions, and I think that creates a culture that doesn't create a culture when you're changing things up too much. So you could probably there's probably many factors as to why it's been a tough season. I think it starts at the front office, definitely.
I mean, yeah,
Looking,
and like for
yeah.
me, it's just when you look at the impact players. For one, none of the guys are young guys at all. that are
Mm,
impacted. Like Malik Young is kind of is like he's 24, so he's a young guy that's on there. But one of the guys who you expected to like Kendrick Nunn hasn't played all season. That was a guy they
yeah,
expected to come in
he's
and
been
do that.
out. I think
So
it's a bone bruise.
so that's been a big blow.
I heard he banged
And
his
like
knee on a coffee table. Is that true, or is that just a meme?
I don't know, it probably was just to me because I never had a bone bruise from banging my knee on a coffee table. That must have been that must have been a unique coffee table for the bone bruise his knee.
Yeah, it probably was a joke. I don't know, but um, yeah, he's
But
been out. He had a big contribution when he was in Miami, right? When they
yeah, yeah.
that bubble team that made it to the finals,
Mm-hmm.
which you know people try to kind of defy that or kind of say that the bubble didn't count, but
Man, they went out there and played games. They counted. They went out there and played games.
yeah, they're
My
saying
thing
that they're saying that the 3-point line was a little closer and that the atmosphere was different with no fans, which
well, I
I mean
mean,
is
yeah,
true,
of course that's
but
true. Don't be tripping with no
at the end of the day, I mean, there's so I don't know why people are like um I don't know saying that the bubble was
Mm-hmm.
fake or something.
It's not even that. It's just the bubble. You had to be more mentally tough because there was a lot of stuff you had to deal with. You couldn't leave there. You couldn't. You were restricted a lot. You were pretty much. I don't even know they were practicing. You pretty much just playing the games and just going back to the hotel room and chilling. So you had to be more
Paul
mentally
George,
tough in the bubble.
I think Paul George said something like he couldn't even sleep for like a week straight or something at the bubble
Yeah,
because he was just like really stressed.
yeah. A lot of the that's and a lot of the players. That's why I said. That's why they said a lot of players from the Clippers didn't want to be there. That's why he was talking like, oh, well, how could they lose to the Nuggets like that? Because them boys mentally checked out.
Yeah,
They mentally checked out. That's how they lost.
yeah. So I mean, I don't agree with people saying that the bubble was a fraud or anything like that. I mean,
No, not at all.
it was the same format and everything as how it is now. So, but yeah, it's just going back to the Lakers. It's just injuries and yeah,
Oh,
that too many players that can't contribute anymore to winning basketball and just it's not even like one thing that you could pinpoint with this team. It's just a
it's a lot of
variety of
things, man.
things.
Like you said, you could go from Anthony Davis being out. You could go with the young guys who they were expected to take next steps did not take them. A la Terrence Horton Tucker, guys who didn't, like you said, Kendrick Nunn didn't play all year. Malik Monk's been doing, he's been there. He's been doing some things every now and then. You know, Dwight Howard ain't the same reserve he used to be. Dwight 36 now too. Like, Father
And
Time catching up with a lot of these
he's
dudes.
playing like 35 minutes tonight still.
Yeah. There's just not enough energy on this roster to play and to play at a high level.
But on the contrary, Boston is playing with utmost energy. Uh,
Tatum been balling. JT,
yep.
like they've been clicking, man.
And
They looking like the best team in the East right now.
it's looking like they might have been probably one of the Lakers for most championships, possibly if they keep playing this way.
It's like they only 2 games out of the 1 seed.
Yeah, I think
That's the
they
crazy
actually
part.
had. I think nights ago they actually topped up the. Didn't they have that one spot? But then I think they've been losing a little bit, so I think Miami is back up to number
Yeah,
one, I
Miami's
believe.
back up at the top. Yeah, I mean you gotta think about it between Miami, Milwaukee, Boston, and Philly. They're 1 through 4 and only separated by 2.5 games.
Yeah. Well, Milwaukee won a close one tonight against Brooklyn.
Yeah, yeah.
That was a
I
crazy,
like
pretty good
that.
game.
I like when Milwaukee will show up. Yeah, Giannis will show up in big games. That's that's why I really honestly Milwaukee and Boston are like my two favorites to come out of the East. I mean, probably the Giannis will probably get that edge right now,
Yeah, I
especially
mean, yeah. Every
with
time I watch
Robert Williams being hurt.
every Giannis game, he gets like, I mean, 40 points, 45 points, 12 rebounds. He's just has these pretty absurd stat lines. Who would you, he did go match up against Kevin Durant tonight.
Mhm.
So, you know, who would you rather have in that for that matchup on your team?
Mm, that's tough because Giannis gonna go all out. Giannis, he gonna do everything to get you a win, and KD just so lethal of a scorer.
Yep. You,
I might go with Giannis, man, because he does so much.
I think for winning, and for shooting, I'm going with KD. But just for like someone who's like a dominant figure, I know
I can have other dudes that can shoot.
because
Giannis go
I
score in the
feel
paint.
like
He go block shots. He go rebound.
Giannis is probably the most dominant player since Shaq. So if I'm trying to have a dominant like player on my team, I'll probably pick Giannis. But just for overall winning, I
I mean, that's a
think
super. That's what we
probably go
talking. That's a
KD.
superstar as well.
What was that?
I said, yeah, that's what I mean. That's what they both superstars. That's what they do. They down. They can take over games. That's what I'm going Giannis.
Yeah, so I think I'm going KD, but
I feel that. I respect it.
but yeah, I mean, yeah, the East is. I think we've mentioned this in previous podcasts, but it's really top three, top four teams have like the same record pretty much. They're like a half
Mm-hmm.
game ahead of each other, so it's pretty tight up there.
Yeah, and the curveball of full time Kyrie now.
Oh yeah, isn't he? I think they
They
didn't
lifted the mandate.
they lifted it right? Yeah,
Yeah, and KD no jokingly said, I get, I guess we could thank the Yankees for having opening weekend and all that. I know he jokingly said it, but I mean, damn, it was real. Cause like, cause I'm pretty sure we know how much the Yankees mean to not just baseball, but their New York market area. They even more of a main attraction to the Knicks at times.
I think the Knicks
So
got eliminated today from playoff contention.
yeah, every as far as the East goes, everybody that's in that play-in line, which the Hawks are at the 10th spot, everybody below them is mathematically eliminated. So right now,
Yeah,
everybody just fight for position.
yeah. I think the Wizards are another team that got eliminated, but
Hmm.
going back, is this his first game back playing at the Barclays Center?
Um, I don't think so. I think the Charlotte game was his first game back.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah, because I
The
wasn't too
Charlotte
sure
game.
about that.
Mhm. So, and speak, and every time we talk about the Nets, we kind of got to talk about the Sixers. They kind of intertwined right now. And James Harden been looking a little gimpy, man. I don't know what's going on with. I don't know what be going on with James, man. The hamstring probably tightening up on him again.
Oh, yeah. I haven't been following the Sixers. Have they been better with Harden? Or
They've been on a little down right now. They lost to Detroit. Harden had a
yeah,
game like he had against the Nets.
I know that everyone had Philly sort of taking the reins in the East as the you know
Yeah,
supreme team, better than the rest. But
yeah.
I mean, it doesn't look that way this far. I think like you said, Harden still dealing with injuries, so he's not doesn't have the same contribution he has that he usually would, you know, have. And on top of
Yeah.
that, they lost a lot of their depth. I think when they traded
Oh
away,
yeah.
Seth Curry and Drummond
Mhm.
and a few other guys to Brooklyn. So
Not only
yeah, I think
that,
I
yeah,
don't think Philly is in contention right now.
I think they still could turn it around, but it's like
They're a
it feels like
contender, but they're
it
not.
feels. What you? But I was saying it's starting to feel like the same story with James Harden. It's starting to feel like every time it gets towards the end of the season, get around playoff, you always getting hurt with your hamstring. Why are you? Why is this always a continuous problem?
Well, how many is he? Isn't he averaging like the most minutes right now in the NBA? I'm pretty sure he's like top five.
He's close. He's close to it. But I
So that's
mean,
probably a factor right there as to why his hamstrings are tighten up, before the playoffs begin. But that's also a
okay.
conditioning, probably a conditioning thing as well.
And that's exactly what I would go point to. Because this ain't the first, second, nor third time it has happened. It is a conditioning thing with James Harden. It's definitely what it is, because this happened to him in Houston. It happened to him those years in Houston. Yeah, yeah, it was unfortunate Chris Paul got hurt when he was in Houston too, but he's been having these problems too since he was in Houston.
Yeah, it's not like it's anything.
Yeah, it's
It's
not.
not anything new.
mm,
Let me
Yeah, this
just.
happened to him 2018 playoffs, 2019.
Yeah. So, what do you think? Do you think Philly, if they get is Harden out or is he playing?
He's playing.
But he's playing injured for
He's
the most part. He's
playing.
not playing with, as if he were healthy.
I mean, he looked healthy. He looked healthy. He looked slow. He don't win. He don't. He can't win his blow. He can't win them blow bys no more.
I
He
don't
looks.
think, I don't think that's looking healthy. Then if he's looking slow,
I mean, he wasn't. Was he ever really that fast to start with? Let's like when
he
we be
was
honest.
when he was in
Was
Houston.
he
He was able
ever?
to blow by players pretty good. I
Yeah.
don't know if that was because he would kind of use his body, use his force. Maybe that was a factor, but yeah, I
But
mean,
now
he
he getting
seemed to
older and
be
he's
he
losing the
seemed to
step.
have a pretty quick first step
Yeah.
before, off the
Yeah.
dribble.
You're right. But he ain't the Houston James Harden no more either.
Yeah,
He
that's true.
losing and stuff.
But people thought when he, was in Brooklyn, he was kind of overshadowed by, the Kevin Durant and Kyrie tandem. So that's why people thought when he got traded to it would kind of bring a new light to James Harden, and he would have, you know, he would be better around Joel Embiid. But I think he's just dealing with injuries and you know stuff like that.
I
Because
think.
I know that he was playing pretty good, when he first got traded to Philly.
Yeah.
Now I guess based off what you're saying, it seems like he's kind of slowing down a little bit.
Yeah, which I mean, it's expected though when you had when you still adjust, like you still adjusting. Like yeah, they had a great start, but now teams can game plan for you. Now teams have film on you where they're game plan, where they're breaking down.
Yeah. Well, I think that's what teams do with the rest of the NBA.
Yeah,
It's all they break down, you know, how can we guard, Steph Curry. Like, what are the different nuances, uh, different ways of defending we could try to use to attack this offensive player, right? I don't
Mhm.
think that's anything new, but I do think, yeah, that people or the teams have figured out how to guard Harden. Uh, in the different for the different teams that he's been on.
Yeah, and like you said, yeah, like you said, like it's been like you learn how to guard people, you learn how to guard people like definitely with like you said with watching film. Now they have like people they know how him and Embiid is gonna work together. We've seen enough of a sample size for them to come up with a game plan,
Yeah.
and oh, like you said, they should figure something out because they're two great players. They're gonna figure something out. Um, like maybe Harden, maybe he needs to be in a little more shape. Maybe he needs more rest. Especially with that especially I don't like I said, I don't think the hamstring was bothering him too much because even when I listened to the post game of Doc talking when they lost to Detroit, like you said, he was the way he didn't say much, but the way he said he was just like it wasn't really much that the defense was doing to hold James. It was just what James was doing. So
Yeah.
it's almost like him having to again. You're on a new team. You have to reassess how you go about the game, how you playing the game with your new teammates.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's just all about how can I fit in? How can I integrate with this new team? And that's Harden's had to figure that out like every season for the past few seasons now. So
Mm,
it's just it's hard to try and to fit into a new environment. It takes kind of getting acclimated to your new situation,
yeah,
right? He seems to be having trouble with that.
yeah, yeah. So I mean, it just like it.
Sometimes you'll see players that get traded to other teams and they actually flourish, but he doesn't seem to be that.
I think I think like it just. I think it just for him it's just like getting that momentum going into the getting. Plus, they can't be the only guys. Also, like you look at they can't be the only guys every night having to show up, having to show out, even though it's suspected in them because they're superstars. Like, at the end of the day, he's suspected because he's a superstar.
Yeah, he went 2 for 11 against Phoenix a few nights ago. His last game was 4 for 15,
Mm-hmm.
18, 9, and 7. Uh, yeah, I already said that. He had a good game against Milwaukee a few nights ago, but yeah, I don't know. Um, I think for Philly to even make the Eastern Conference Finals, they would need Harden to be a little more consistent. Is
Not
all.
only that, they're gonna need some help from their bench because just look, like I said, we just look at today alone in that game. They had maybe what 10 points come off the bench at most.
But yeah, they got rid of their depth when they made the trade for
Well,
Harden.
that's why you need guys who been a champion like Danny Green to step up. You need guys like Shake Milton who is thrust into this new role pretty much your six man because he's getting the most money. He's getting the most minutes off the bench. He has to step up his game.
Well,
He
I
can't
don't
have
think
3 point nights as a six man. You can't. That can't happen.
is Danny Green starting for the
No, he's coming off the
Sixers.
bench.
So
No, he coming.
I think he needs to be starting.
Well,
Um,
who you gonna take out?
I think that would be the first rotation move I would make for if I were the coach for the Sixers.
All right, man, who
I
you
would
taking
take
out?
out Maxi's the starting shooting guard, right?
Max is the point. Max is playing point. James is at the two.
Okay.
Thibault's pretty much at the three.
So
Tobias is at the four.
I would put Danny Green at the three, and say I would put Thibault as your sixth man. He could be that tenacious defender, off the
Yeah,
bench, sort of like a you know Tony Allen role or
yeah,
something.
yeah. So pretty much for Philly, I mean, like you gonna need Harden and Embiid to be great every night, but you go need help. But they gonna need some help.
I mean,
Tyrese and
who was the starting small forward or shooting guard on the that 2020 Laker team? I think it was Danny Green.
mm-hmm.
Was so And then who was the starting shooting guard in that 2019 Raptors team? Danny Green. So if it seems if you start him, you might be a better team.
Yeah, yeah.
So
I mean, it's something worth trying. If
he's
not,
he, well, he's a good defender. What was that? Good defender. He could shoot the three. He could pass the ball a little bit. Gives you everything you need. I know that Tyball's one of the better defenders, but he can't shoot. He can't shoot. What's his 3-point percentage like? Below league level.
where he's at this
I
year,
know league level is like what's the average, you know, percentage? Like 35
probably
percent.
30, something like that. I would say 30 something.
So
I
I
mean,
think
right now,
Danny Green's like a 38% 3-point shooter, I believe. And I don't know, Tybal can't really do much from that. So no, I mean, I think that's just why the Sixers are probably not playing up to par as well. There's like I said, there's many factors
well, but
as
like
to
you
why
said,
a
their depth,
team
like you
could,
said, mhm.
yeah,
I was gonna say, like you made a good point with their depth. A lot of their depth is gone. You need guys now coming out who were not in those roles, coming out the bench to step up, to step their game up,
yeah,
and when they come out the bench to make an impact.
yeah,
And that just that isn't happening on a consistent basis. So without no bench, I mean, Philly they'll be good. They'll make the play. Like we talked about with the East, it's so deep. Let's just look at it. Let's just look at it right now. Like at the 4th seed right now. They're matched up against Chicago.
hmm
I'm not even sure if they beat Chicago
Well,
with no bench.
DeRozan's kind of had a MVP like season
And the
this
man just
season.
dropped 50. The man just dropped 50 today.
Oh, we have another 50-point. You know that just happened again. So I
Yeah, the man
remember in
just
our
dropped
last
50.
podcast we were talking about like how all these players are just scoring, having these routes with scoring. But yeah, I mean DeMar DeRozan, he's having like I said, really good season, MVP like season. So
Yeah, he's on a great season, and then like we said, we got Levine on that team. You got Vucevic, who I think is a really underrated big. He's on that squad. So
yeah,
it's like they have guys who are gonna consistently show up. We don't know who that really is for the Sixers beside outside of Embiid, and sometimes
mhm.
hard now. You
Yeah,
look at
they're kind of on a whim right now.
Yeah,
You never know what you're gonna get, but that's a lot of teams
yeah, and
this year.
and and Chicago is starting to get healthy. They got Caruso back. Lonzo's supposed to come back at some point.
Yeah,
So I mean, they got a squad.
yeah. I mean, without DeRozan, I don't know where they would be, but you know, they're pretty good. They got some
Yeah,
good role players. Um, what other topics you got? Talking about Philly for a while.
yeah, we have. So Phoenix or the Suns clinched the best record, clinched the West home court throughout the entirety of the playoffs, including the finals. So my question for you is: are they the best team in the NBA?
I think they're the yeah, I think they're the best and they're the most complete team in the NBA. Like they have, you know, just the accumulation of talent and players that lead to winning basketball, and I think they're a championship team. I think there's teams that could come close to having a run against them, like the Grizzlies, Warriors.
Yeah,
Uh, what else? A few
I
other
don't know
teams in
about
the
the
West,
Warriors
but
now. I don't know about the Warriors now with James Wiseman not coming back. I mean, I respect Draymond as a defender, but I just don't see him doing much with DeAndre Ayton down there.
yeah, and the Warriors have been struggling as of late.
Mm-hmm.
I think they've
Well,
lost
Steph is
like
out, so
6 of their last 7 games or something like that.
yeah.
So
And I mean, most of that's because Steph is out. But I mean, now when you look at it, and Steph is missing the rest of the regular season, is it possible that they slide from the fourth seed down to maybe the sixth? Because they're only 2 games up on Utah and Denver.
yeah, I mean anything's possible. I think with Steph being out, there's that chance that they could slide down to the 6th, 7th seed. There was high hopes earlier this season, but
I ain't gonna say Minnesota go catch them. I'm
yeah, probably not. But yeah, I think the Warriors could slide down a little bit without Steph for sure. They're not. Even with Steph, they were kind of on a little like downfall in my opinion. So they started off the year pretty good, and they kind of just fizzled out a little bit.
They started out good for like 7, 11 minutes of the start of the season. Cause that's the amount of time they had all their stars together. Everybody else is
Yeah.
getting in and out of the rotation.
Well, I'm not a huge believer in
Even
Wiseman,
Andrew Wiggins.
anyways. I don't think Wiseman was that great last
You don't think
season.
so?
No, I thought he would be
I think
better.
he can develop. I think he can develop in the zone. I feel like he can develop into a dominant rim protector,
Yeah, I think his
and he can.
could be underrated, but you know, people thought he would be a stretch big as well, and I didn't see that last season too much. So
Well, I mean, that 3 point line is a little further back than college, so
yeah,
he's a little more
I
stereotyped.
think he could be like a pretty good defender in the paint area,
Yeah,
you know. But I mean, as a 7 foot big man, I feel like most players are already pretty good defenders in the paint. So does that really make him, special? I don't know. If he could develop, his offensive arsenal, then
yeah.
maybe he could be a good player. But I just haven't seen that yet, and he has been injured this season, so it's been hard to. You can't really pro- project how he's going to turn out yet. But yeah, just a waiting game with him. Um. So yeah, who do you think is the most complete team in the NBA right now? Do you agree with me on Phoenix?
Yeah, I mean everything they're showing us is it's hard to go against them. It's like Even when Chris Paul was out, D Book held it down. He got assists. Still got his points. Cameron Payne still came in and did his thing at the point guard spot. I feel like you said. I feel like they're the most complete. Like you look at it, they got a guy who should be in the MVP conversation,
Mm-hmm.
and Chris Paul, and you got Chris Paul and Paul back point guard, Mikal Bridges, who is in the conversation for Defensive Player of the Year. So
Yeah,
yeah,
they have a complete team, just in
yeah.
terms of just you know different players that just have different um, outputs. When they
I feel
play.
like they can play. I feel like they can play a variety of styles and
Yeah,
win.
well, they have rebounders. They have players that could shoot. They have players that could defend. So they just have like the whole package.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what makes a complete team. When you have too many players that do the same thing, like they're identical and everything, and your whole team is like that, kind of like the Lakers this season. They just have players that could shoot but can't defend, or they have players that just can't defend. So you know, it's good to
All
have
right.
versatility.
So before we do leave the NBA topic, the Lakers, do you think they need to trade AD this offseason?
No, I think they need to trade Westbrook. That's the obvious piece I would trade.
Mhm.
Do
Yeah,
you
I
think
think
they
that's
need to trade AD?
no, I definitely don't. No, because it's like when he's available, your team's a world of difference. But the thing is, if you're not gonna trade AD, you need to make sure you have comparable backups that can come in and spell AD to limit some of these injuries that he's been having. Or you just need
Yeah.
AD to get on his grown man shit and take care of his body better.
I
Cause
mean, if a
I don't know
trade
what.
for, you know, Karl Anthony Towns or someone like that with that type of impact came about, then I would consider making that trade for AD, but
Mhm.
it would have to be a pretty enticing package for me to even think about trading Anthony Davis. Other than
Yeah,
that, I think you just, stay put with him until he did. I mean, he's basically taken the season off. He really hasn't played many games this season, so you just gotta hope that he comes back, next season healthier.
I think it's gonna be hard. It's gonna be hard for them to move that Westbrook confident, but I think like having all off season, they can find a way to work it out. Which I feel like I feel like he needs that change of scenery too, because it's just been all bad in LA this year.
Yeah, but
And
it's
he's
just been
saying
one. It's
unless
just
they,
been one. It's just been one bad season. So I don't think you just, blow it all up.
but how much of a choice do they have? Like you got to make some
Um,
moves.
yeah, you trade Westbrook. You trade Westbrook, and then you don't sign most of the players you have right now. They're on 1 year, contracts anyways, and then you just sign younger players that could defend, shoot a little bit, and they'll probably be back to their winning ways. So
Yeah, I think that. I think they got a lot of work to do. They got to figure out God. They got to. To me, they need to get guys who can create their own shot. And to me, the biggest move that I feel like they can make is if they find a way to trade for Dame.
yeah,
I
well,
think if you're the
I
Lakers,
don't.
you have to
That's not
be in that
gonna. That's not gonna
conversation.
happen.
You have to be in that conversation if you the Lakers. There's no other way. There's no other way.
I
You
mean,
gotta
as,
trade.
if you
You
have
gotta
if
trade
you
for
have
Dame.
LeBron and Anthony Davis on your team, I'm pretty sure there's ways you could work around the Westbrook thing has just been a disaster. It hasn't fit at all with LeBron and Anthony Davis. So if you could just you know, figure out what to do with that, you know, with that player, and then obviously you trade Westbrook, and then you just have to sign, players that can shoot and defend like what they had in 2020, Danny Green, players like that. So
That's what I'm saying. You trade for Dame.
yeah, but I don't think Portland's gonna. I don't think they're gonna deal him. I don't think Portland's trading Dame to any team in the league. I
Why
think they're.
not?
I think. I mean, they'll
You
probably trade.
clearly rebuilding. You clearly rebuilding. You traded CJ. You clearly rebuilding.
I
Why
think they're
not
trying
trade?
to. I
You
think they're
trading on a
trying to build a
Kyle?
better team around Dame. I think they're trying to build around Dame.
The best thing they can do for Damian Lillard is to get him the fuck up out of there. Get him up out of there. That's the best thing you can do for him.
And yeah, that's what they probably should do, but I don't think that's what they're gonna do. They're trying to build around him. I think with they got like two. I think they got two of the top 10 picks this year in the draft. So maybe they'll try to package that up for maybe another you know all star or something, and then yeah, definitely not trading him to the
Mm,
Lakers. That's not happening.
I don't know. I don't know. They gotta they gotta figure out something. It's gonna be interesting to see how that unfolds. I still think they should trade him. Like just go full rebuild. Like I don't ain't like retooling sometimes works, sometimes it doesn't. Just go full rebuild. Give Chauncey Billups a real chance. Build a roster and go full rebuild. I feel like
Yeah,
that's
but a
I feel like
rebuild a rebuild takes like 10 years. Who
okay.
I
So
don't think teams
I
want
don't
to
not 10
do that
years. It don't
unless
take
they're
10.
they're like
It don't take
it.
10.
It
It
takes
take
like
maybe
it
4.
takes like if you're lucky, it'll take 2 to 3 years to rebuild. I mean, it takes that's like the minimum amount of time it takes. Um, a rebuild process. I mean, unless you're lucky and you draft the right players and everything, it's
Well,
gonna take.
that's what you're banking on when you draft. Then you think
Yeah, but I mean, I don't think Portland wants to rebuild. That's not trying to do
I
that.
don't I
When
don't
was the
think they
last time?
want to either.
Well, there's some teams in the NBA that don't want to do that. You know what I mean? There's certain teams that don't do rebuilds.
Like Indiana.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. The Pacers, a few other teams. I can't really think of them right now, but yeah. So
Yeah,
I
I
disagree,
could.
but maybe I mean, if they do trade him to the Lakers, I will be ecstatic about that.
I don't think they gonna trade him to the Lakers. I'm just saying that's what the Lakers should do. I don't think he'll end up there.
Yeah. Well, there's a lot of things that people should do in life that they don't. So, right, kind of goes with sports as
Story of a
well.
lot of life, yeah. Story of a lot of people's life, and some moments in everybody else. Some moments.
All right. So you said you had other topics. You
Mhm.
said
Yeah,
you have anything
and a
about football or something,
couple of
or
people. Yeah, a couple of people got paid. Bobby Wagner finally signs with the team. He decides on the Rams 5 year, $50 million deal. He was close to signing with the Ravens, but what ultimately made him sign with the Rams is, he has kids and stuff that's in Seattle. So, being on the West Coast a little easier to see your kids if you play in LA and they live in Seattle.
yeah. So I think the Rams, that's probably a good replacement for.
Mm-hmm.
They just lost, Von Miller, and I still
Right.
don't know what's going on with Odell Beckham. Is he still a free agent?
Yep, he's still a free agent along with a couple other big name receivers like Jarvis Landry, Julio Jones still on the market.
So
As far as the receiver who did get paid though, Tyreek Hill got traded from Kansas City to Miami and got paid 4 year deal with 120 million, 72 guaranteed, and 25 of them was given to him at the signing bonus.
So yeah, the Dolphins, they're
They
They've
retooling.
been struggling, the
Yeah,
past
they all.
for a while now.
Mhm. Yeah, and they
But
assigned to Ryan Armstead, so they trying to see what Tua's really about. They
yeah,
giving them a left tackle. They giving them some more receivers. They trying to see what Tua has.
yeah, I don't really like Tua, to be honest. I think he's not, you know, hasn't panned out. Uh,
Yeah,
I'm
which
glad
is
that
what.
the Chargers took Herbert over him. So that would
Well, you
not have
gotta
been
think
good if
about
they
it.
took Tua.
Miami. Well, you gotta think about it. Miami had the pick before that. So when
Yeah.
Miami picked Tua over Justin, that left Justin for the Chargers, which,
Hmm.
like you said, worked out really great for them.
Yep.
And like you said, this Tua, if Tua doesn't work out, it's gonna always be that with Miami. You're gonna be like, well, you passed him on Justin Herbert.
Mm.
So they're putting all these weapons around Tua, so they can feel like they made the right decision going with Tua over Justin Herbert. Because you gotta think about it when it comes to ownership of GMs and guys in that high position, they don't like to be wrong.
Yep.
So when they are wrong, it's kind of like, oh shit, what are we gonna do?
That's
So
when you either mess up completely or you figure things out. But I think I don't know. Like I said, I don't really think Tua was a franchise quarterback or anything. He
yeah,
could be, I don't know, average at best. Maybe like a who's that quarterback for the Cardinals? What's his name?
Kyler Murray.
Yeah, I think he could be like that maybe, but
You think Kyler
someone.
average?
Yeah, I don't think he's that great when it comes to the playoffs. I think
Oh yeah, he ain't
he
that much
kind of
of an
gets a
impact
little
in the
he kind
playoffs.
of gets a little phased during the playoffs.
Yeah,
Can't
I
handle
mean,
the pressure.
I mean, as far as that team, I wouldn't want to say that too much. That as far as that team, they need to get more options besides DeAndre Hopkins for him to trust in that offense. But
Yeah, I mean, yeah, the Cardinals they need a lot of work to do, but yeah, like you said with the Dolphins, they're just. I think they have a good surrounding cast. They don't have the quarterback position in place.
yeah,
So
and I definitely feel like if this doesn't work out this year, we will see Miami. If they're not already at the top of the draft, we'll see them be aggressive enough to go to the top of the draft
well,
and get
I've
all
heard
that.
something about Tom Brady, a ploy to get Tom Brady to the Dolphins somehow.
I
What
heard
do you
there
think
was a
about that?
problem with that too. I didn't know if he would have
Because
went
is
to
it
the
Tom
Dolphins.
Brady? Wouldn't Brady be a free agent next season?
Yeah,
So maybe he would want to play for Miami. I mean, it's right down the street. Just
it's
take a bus stop from Tampa Bay to Miami and play for the Dolphins. You know?
if they was to pull something like that out, that would be amazing, and they would look like geniuses, and it would cover up for the fact that they drafted two over Justin Herbert. But we'll see, because it's just because I mean, like I'm still waiting in the wings on the Sean Payton being the next head coach of the Cowboys, so I'm still waiting on that part too. But
Yeah,
as far as head coaches did making transitions, Bruce Arians did announce that he's joining the Bucks front office, and Todd Bowles would be the replacement as head coach. And turned out that succession plan had been in the works for a while, and actually Tom Brady knew about it before Tom Bowles. So when Brady decided to come back, Bruce Arians told him about this plan.
yeah. He gets all the information before the GM because he's Tom Brady, the goat.
Tom Brady, yeah, he's part of personnel decisions.
He probably knows who's getting traded next
Oh,
season.
always they do a lot. A lot of players have said
There's
with
players
star
like
players,
that.
they know who get traded. They know who
Tom,
get
LeBron James is kind of on that same level with the front office where they kind of give
traded.
him front office gives them like their input. Hey, like who do you want us to trade for? And they kind of
Yeah,
ask for input from those guys, which could be a bad thing, you know. But
It's only bad if you Baker
I
Mayfield.
think like I believe a front office should just go with their own what they feel like they need, you know, rather than
Well,
asking the best player on the team what they think, you know, the front office needs to do.
well,
Or
you could do that, and then you could end up like Green Bay, where you're wondering every year if Aaron Rodgers is gonna come back, and he's doing this because he feels like y'all don't respect him, and because Jordan Love just isn't that dude. You kind of at his feet. So if you're an organization, like you said, you can take that approach, but you got to make sure you're in position to take that approach. If not, you're going to like the Packers.
yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's a little strange in my opinion. So why some teams do that? Not many teams, but
Well,
you know,
I
there's teams
mean,
like Tampa Bay, like you said, that you know do
Tom
that.
Hall of Famer though, man. Like Tom Hall of Famer. Like that's a
Or
little
even
different.
like,
That's
well,
an
it's not.
echelon.
I'm not just saying Tampa Bay. I'm saying there's like a few other teams that do that
Okay.
as well.
Well,
You
I
know,
get what you're saying because I do remember like when they were talking about the whole Baker saga that like Baker pretty much picked Freddie Kitchens as his coach after his rookie year, which
yeah,
was a bad idea because Freddie only lasted 1 year. So I get
yeah.
what you're saying from that perspective too, and I
I
feel
don't even.
like it's like they got to be a certain level player. Like you got to been in one the MVP or something. If you, especially like if you're a quarterback or something,
That's the point I'm
you
trying to say is that I don't care what your status is as a player. Like I don't know why teams do that. In like I don't care if it's Tom Brady or
because
someone like that. Like
okay,
you
I
know,
get
it's
that, but here's also the thing: if you
like
have
yeah,
a LeBron,
you could ask for you know what the input, but then they actually go and like
okay,
literally follow you know the kind of at the hands of what the players want
hmm
stuff like that. It's a little weird, but
all right. So basically, so what you're saying is it's okay to take suggestions, but don't follow everything they're saying. Is what you're saying.
yeah, I guess in a way.
All right, I'm with that. I mean, I feel, but my only thing I would say to that is when you do have those star players and they are doing it, I mean, it's mainly because that is your investment. Those star players that you're paying 30-40 million a year to, or even if they're a rookie and you see their potential and stuff, those guys you trust them to be the franchise guys, they're your
Hmm.
investment. They're what holds the key to a lot of these GM jobs. So yeah, they follow those suggestions because those guys are kind of joining at the hip.
Yeah, just don't follow LeBron's suggestions because then you're probably gonna you know have a losing season.
I mean, this is probably a one-time thing. Brian don't be wrong too many times.
I don't think he's a very good GM.
I mean, he's not
He's
supposed to be. He's still playing. He ain't supposed to be. But like
well
you said, that's all
they
Paleka. That's all Paleka. That's all Paleka though too.
I don't think it's all on Palinka.
Oh no, he don't get all of the blame. Like some of it's on the Brian. You said some of it's on the Brian because we know he helped construct this roster, and
Hmm.
it's just I mean, I don't think Frank Vogel is going to be their coach after this year. To be honest with you, honestly,
Yeah,
after
probably
seeing
not. I don't think
like,
he's. I don't even think he should be the coach right now to end the season. But it is what it is.
mhm.
Uh, so yeah,
That was all my talking points, man. That was all my talking. Uh,
well, we've been going on for a little over an hour. So
okay, yeah, we made some sense. We made her hour. I didn't know we was gonna make an hour.
what was that?
I said I almost ain't know we was gonna make an hour. We did it. We did it.
It doesn't went by pretty fast. So We're gonna end the podcast here. All right. So thanks for joining me, Leroy.
No problem.
All right. Thank you guys for listening to the Courtside podcast. Follow us wherever you listen to us, whichever platform you use to listen to your podcast. You guys have a good night.
All right, everybody, be easy, be blessed, and stay safe out here.
All right. Peace.
All right, peace.